Welcome to another episode of the Red Dead Redemption General Store, and in this video I'm going to be creating this lamp, oil lamp or candle lamp, whatever. This is the reference image that I'm going to use to trace over, and if you want you can just take a screenshot of that, or you can download it from the references channel on the Zero Bio Discord if you can find it. I admit it's not that easy. But this is going to be very easy to model, so all you would need is a quick screenshot. Anyhow, I brought in the reference image and I scaled it by 3, I think it is, and I moved it back on the y-axis there. And we're going to get started with this. I've also sort of centered it up. Okay, so I'm going to start by bringing in a cylinder. And I'm going to go for, let's do that again. Bringing in a cylinder, and I'm going to go for 22 vertices, I think. And I'll scale it up, go into wireframe, and see if I can. I may have to move this GX a little bit, just try to center it up a little bit better than that. Okay, I'm going to scale that in the Z a little, and I'm going to move it up to the bottom. Okay, I think I'll take this and I'll go ahead and I'll just have it on that line. Control R and drop an edge loop, pull it to there. Press 3 for face selection, Shift Alt and click, that'll get that whole row right there. And looking from the front, I'm going to press E and Alt S and push, bring it out to about there, and go back into solid view. And here, let's just focus on that. And you can see what I've done here. I'm going to start right away with a little bit of beveling. Actually, I can get rid of this edge. I'll just dissolve that edge. Shift Alt and click there. Shift Alt and click there. And I'm going to bevel this a little bit. I'll go with 3. If you want it to be a bit more round, you can put another edge loop and scale it out, and then bevel that. I might do that. That'll look okay. But I'm going to come in here also. Shift Alt and click that edge. I'll bevel that with 3. Shift Alt and click there. And we'll continue. I'll go back into wireframe, extrude up, and then press S to scale and pull it in like that. And we'll have that. Okay, so now I'm going to take this, Shift D to duplicate, pull it up, P to break it out for now. And I'll come back to this one, Shift Alt and click, I switch to edge mode. I'll bevel that, and I will bevel this. Like that. That's good. We'll do edge seams in a bit. Take this and scale it down, and I'm going to pull it down here around there. E to extrude and pull up to there. I'll go back into wireframe. E to extrude up to here. Scale, S to scale, come into around there. E to extrude, come up to there. I'm going to go back into solid mode. I to inset, we'll pull it in a little bit, and we have this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude down a little bit, and then I'm going to press I to inset. I'm going to come back to my diagram in wireframe and just scale it. I'm looking at the vertices here, trying to get it to be that approximately that width. E to extrude, pull it up, and S to scale. This is a separate piece. We'll deal with that in a bit. And this top piece I'm going to I to inset. You'll never see this really. I'll just do that and I'll push it down, extrude it down, and then get rid of that face. Alright, let's do some beveling. 2 for edge selection, Shift Alt and click those. Control B, and I'll use 3. I do want to bevel at the bottom of this. Control B. And I want to bevel on here, just for the shading purposes. Okay, these 2 edges here. Control B. This edge, any of the sharp ones really, I have to smooth it out. This one, Control B. And I just want to select this. I want to push it down a little bit. X faces, get rid of that face. Okay, let's see what it looks like shaded smooth. Okay, I am going to keep the bottom because we may see it, but what I'll do is I'll come in here and I'll I to inset a little bit just to help the shading on that. Let's double check that things are facing the right way, and they are. Okay, let's start by putting some edge loops on this. Let's just focus on those 2 things with the slash key. Control 1 to look from the back. That's where I'm going to put my edges. So now in edge selection, Shift Alt and click, Control E mark seam, and then Control 1 to look from the back, Shift Alt and click that edge. It'll go right to there, Control E mark seam, and right to here. So I'm going to Control E right there, mark seam. We can separate out any of these other pieces if we really want, but I don't think we'll need to. So let's come up to this one and Shift Alt and click there and mark seam. And for this one, I mean, we could look at it just like that. Let's do that and see if we need more. But before we do any of that, let's go on with this. Okay, so I want to build this part, and I'm going to, in edge selection, grab a circle here, Shift D to duplicate and pull it out, scale it down, rotate 90, and G, pull it over, and scale it. I'm going to pull it out to there. E to extrude to come down to there. It's open, so let's go F to make a face, and here, F to make a face. Take that circle, and I'm going to Shift D to duplicate, pull it out, scale it down to about the right size, and I'm going to pull it in. We'll get rid of that face later. E to extrude, pull it back into the body of that, X faces, and here we'll just hide that face and select that one and get rid of it. Alt H to bring that back. So that's actually joined. Now let's bevel this, and then we'll mark seams. Shift Alt and click that edge and that edge. Control B and bevel it with 3. Slash key to focus just on that stuff. Control 7 to look from the bottom. Grab one of these. Control E, mark seam. And for this, I'm going to Shift Alt and click there and here and mark seam, and that should be just fine for that. Let's shade smooth and double check. Yep, okay, good. Slash key 1 to look from the front. So we have that, and then we need to do, I'll do this back reflector, but I may use more polys. I tend to grab a circle from here. I could subdivide, I suppose. Let's try that. Let's just take a circle, Shift D to duplicate, pull it out, P to break it out, take that, let's rotate X 90, and then get it in here, roughly S to scale, and match the approximate size of that. So what I was saying is if I go Control 1 for one subdivision, maybe I'll do that and apply it, and then just go from there. It's a lot of polys, but whatever. I'm going to go F to make a face. Let's pull it to the back, actually. And then I'm going to go I to inset, pull in, I to inset, pull in, I to inset. Do something like that. I'm going to switch to proportional editing and start pulling. And if I roll my mouse, I can change the size of that circle. I just want it big enough, almost like the size of the actual thing, just to give it a little bit of a curve back like that. Okay, so I've got that. Now I'm going to add solidify and just give it some more thickness. Maybe something like that. Could be okay. And now I will apply the solidify. Come in here and select that middle there. And I might want it a bit bigger. I might add one more edge loop there. I don't think it'll cause any trouble. And then I can select there and Control plus to expand my selection. E to extrude, just pull it in a little bit. Maybe S to, no, I got proportional editing on. Maybe S to scale it a bit. And then just select that edge there. Control B, bevel it with 3. Let's see if that looks okay. I'm going to shade smooth. Yeah, I just want a little indentation in there. And I'm also going to bevel these edges. So in 2 edge selection, select there, Control B, pull. So that's how that looks. All right, that's okay. Yeah, so let's take this, maybe I'll move it back a little bit, and we're going to create the connection to hold it, which you can see here. It's the little cylinder going in. So the way I'll do that is, how about, no, I don't need that many vertices. Let's take a circle from here. Shift Alt and click here. Shift D to duplicate. Let's pull it back and scale it. P to break it out for now. Take that, look from the side and rotate 90. And this one, we kind of have to just eyeball it. So I'm just going to bring it down to about there, extrude it to here, and just have it sort of make contact. I'll show you what we can do. Let's just grab this end and just pull it in. I just want to make sure there's no face on that. Okay. Let's shade smooth that. Let's say that was going to be there. You'll never even see that. But anyways, I'm going to look from the side and go into edit mode and select it and come up to mesh, choose bisect, and I'm just going to cut it like kind of like this on an angle. And now I can select these and delete them, and I think I got it. That's it's not going to poke through. Before we go any further, let's just take this and grab an edge and Control E, mark seam. And for this one, I think how I'll do this is maybe I'll come in here and grab one of these circles and mark seam there. I'll do this one here. Not sure I really need to, but this is the way I'm going to do it. And then go to the middle of my bevel, take that one, and I'll mark seam on that. And I want this and this joined together. And before we go on and do this part, let's first of all make sure it's not facing the wrong way. So I'll just recalculate. And let's do some materials. So over here, this is going to be the reflector. I'm going to call this, just so that I don't have any trouble with other materials, I'm going to call it reflector vid. It's really lamp. Let's do something like that. Lamp reflector, call it vid. This is going to be the body, and I'm actually going to join this to this, Control J. And so this is going to be lamp body vid. Okay, so far so good, and we have that good. All right, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, the reference image, and I'm going to press G, and I'm going to go into wireframe and just try to position this kind of in the middle where it's going to go. It's going to go like that. I'm going to hide this stuff, and we'll just start building. So I'm going to go bring in a plane and bring it up and merge at center. So I have just the one point. I'm going to pull it over like this, and I'm going to E to extrude, and we're going to trace this out. So I'm going to press E and pull E, and I'm just pulling with my mouse. And I want a number of points to make it kind of smooth. We'll put a subdivision on anyhow. We're going to do this and then use the screw modifier to sort of lathe it around. So just get a nice shape for this. This is going to be the piece of glass. And then we may have to do some tweaking of the shape anyhow. Let's come to there, and then I'm going to come up. Now the important thing here is that my 3D cursor is in the middle of this. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this screw or add the screw modifier. And I'm going to go Control 1. And it's up to you if you want to go to that extent. But I'm going to do that. Now it's probably flipped, as you can see there. So in the screw modifier, just scroll down under normals. You can just say flip. Or you can do it the other way. So I like that. So I'm going to apply that. And I'm actually going to apply the subdivision as well. Control 1 to look from the back. Hide the reference image. Come in here. 2 for edge selection, Shift Alt and click that edge, Control E, mark seam, and that's what I needed. Let's Alt H, is it to bring everything back? Just bring everything back. I really don't need this anymore, so I'm going to get rid of it. I just want to look and make sure that this is positioned where I want it, and it does seem pretty good. Let's give this a material, and this is going to be lamp glass vid. So I've got 3 materials there. I want to double check everybody is okay. So I've got these pieces joined, but this is separate and this is separate, and that's what I basically want. All right, so we're going to come into the UV editing. I'm going to select a piece of the glass and press U, unwrap, and we'll get this. I'm going to press A to select it all, and I have the UV squares add-on. I'm going to press to grid by shape, and then I'm going to use UV Pack Master to pack. You can use Blender. Pack, and I'll get this, and that's the glass done right there. Okay, this piece, let's have a look at it. Just unwrap. So get these curved pieces. So I'm going to select it and come to UV squares and to grid by shape. That's going to be okay. This piece here, okay, that's going to be okay. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. These pieces, I just want to move them out of the way because I don't want anything too small, even though, you know, whatever. I'm just going to move those over here, and I'm just going to increase the size of that a little bit. Okay, I'm going to select everything and pack, and that's okay. It wastes a lot of space, but I'm going to go with that. So I've got that unwrapped and I've got that unwrapped, and this one, let's give it a try. Just unwrap, and it does that, and that's okay. Let's just pack it. So don't forget that each thing that has its own material gets its own UV space. So it's not like I have to blend this with this and have them fight over UV space. They each get their own, and that should be okay. This is not like a hero item or anything. It's going to be in the distance, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to save this file. All right, in Substance Painter, I will leave this at 2K and open GL, and I will find lamp video. There it is, and OK. And the lamp comes in and everything is visible. Nothing is facing the wrong way. That's good. Right off the bat, I will add some anti-aliasing. Notice I've got my 3 materials, or by texture sets. And the next thing we need to do is come to the texture set settings, scroll down, bake the mesh maps. I really don't have to do it at 2K, but I will. All of these materials, but I'll uncheck ID and thickness. And I'm going to leave the ambient occlusion the way it is, and we'll just go ahead and bake. We've got that. Everything looks good. This is going to be very easy to do. I'm going to start with the body. I'm going to delete the default layer, and I'm going to come over to my smart materials, and I'm going to search for metal. And this copper metal, I believe, is built into Substance Painter. I'm going to drag that over, and that's going to go on the body. And I'm not going to really have to do anything to that unless you want to maybe decrease the roughness. I'll put some dirt and dust on it later. But I'm going to start with that. But I only want the bottom to have this, and I want the top to be a silvery thing. That's how it looks to me, at least in the reference image. And so I'm going to just simply duplicate this layer, come in to the base metal of the copper, and I'm going to scroll down to the color here, the base color. I'm just going to drag it to about there and sort of look and say, yeah, that looks kind of all right. So I only want that on the top, and so I'll come back here to the folder level, and I'm going to add a black mask, come over here to my polygon fill, and choose this mesh. And the way I built this, all I have to do is click it. It was sort of a separate piece, even though it's joined. Remember, I copied this piece here, and then I started building that, and I can just click on this stuff too. And so all that top is like that. That's also going to be the material for this thing. And so I will go ahead, actually I needed that. And I'm going to copy this layer, and I'm going to come over to the reflector, delete the default layer, and just paste that in. And the one thing, I see nothing happen. That's because I've got this mask on it that allowed it to go on here, but not here. So I'm just going to remove the mask. Now it's on there as well. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll switch over to this. Okay, so that's what we got so far. We'll come back to this, and let's do the following. On top of this, I don't even have to name my layers. It's going to be so simple. I'm going to add some dirt. So color and roughness. I want the roughness up, and the color of the dirt is going to be sort of a dark brownish black, like that, almost like soot. And I am going to add a black mask. I just use the generator, and I'll just knock that down a bit. You know, it has been burning, so I do want some. You can see some dirt in there and there, and just in general kind of highlights it. I will call that dirt just so we remember, because we're going to probably copy this and put it on here. And we can try, let's see, we could try metal edges and see, just making it sort of white, adding a black mask and a generator, and let's try metal edges as opposed to curvature. That does that, and I'm just going to take the balance down. that sort of looks like some of it's worn away there, and I actually do like it. It just makes it a little bit more stylized and a bit more visible. So I'll just call this edges, and I'll do another one that's kind of white, but maybe I'll bring the roughness up. And you know, you can decide you don't want it perfectly white, but I want to try some dust. And so how about we clear this and we come over to our smart masks, search for dust, and try this dust dirty, see what that looks like. Yeah, that's good. I like that. And just reduce it a little bit. Yeah, just gives it a little bit more character. Okay, you can do all kinds of, you know, stuff, scratches and stuff, but I'm not going to bother with that. So this is dust. Let's go ahead and take, let's see if the edges and dirt, let's copy the, maybe even dust. Let's copy all those layers and try them on here. So just select that one and then paste. And so that stuff's on there. I see the edges, but I'd like to clean this up a little bit less dirt on it. So I'm going to come to my dirt layer, and I'm going to add a paint layer, and I'll come over to my brushes, and I'll search for dirt, even though we're going to be erasing dirt. There it is. Increase the size of this, but decrease the flow, sort of the intensity. Press X so it's black, and now I can paint out some of that dirt. I just want to do this so that it reflects a little bit more when the light is in there. Okay, so just do whatever. Something like that's fine. Okay, so that all works good. So let's come to there's a little bit more I want to do, but let's get the glass going. Just delete the default layer. Come to my smart materials, search for glass, and as usual, I will use this glass dirty. I'm going to drop that in. And it just basically looks very reflective, all right, with a little bit of debris on there or dirt. And so what I need to do is come up to my shaders here, switch from metal roughness to this alpha blend right here. So I need to do that, but I also need to come to the texture set settings. There's no opacity channel here, so I'm going to click the plus, opacity. Now we have some transparency, and that's based on this base color here. You see opacity is there, and you can adjust whether you want it more or less, you know, opaque. I'm basically going to leave it there so we can see the light through that. And at this point, you can either leave it, or if you decide you want to put something on it. Let's see, do we have some dust there? Let's see, if I take this layer, let's copy that layer. And if we put it onto the glass, I'll put it above here, paste. I don't really see, well there, I see a little bit. You really have to crank up the balance on this. Here, I'll do that. And you can see it coming through. But I don't want too much because I want the light to come through. So I'm just going to leave it down there. So there's a little bit of it there. It's almost about halfway. And you can see that this thing now looks really dark, that nozzle-like thing in there, as if that's the area where there's been a lot of heat. So that I'm fine with that. That there is most of the model in itself, but I want to do one more thing on the body. So I'm going to come back to the body, and I think I'll work right above, actually I'm going to work right above the copper because that's where the effect is going to be. So right there. So I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to call this pattern. And in the folder is going to be a fill. So the fill has gone into the folder. Make sure it's in the folder. All right. You can call that something if you want, pattern as well. I'll just leave it like that for the moment, but I'm going to add a black mask to it. And I'm going to come over here now. I wish I had a region on this that had a depression to create the pattern I want. And so what I may do is I may come back to Blender real quick, go into the body, create an edge loop, Control B to split it, but roll back so there's just two, one going up and down, like that. Press E and Alt S and pull to get an indentation, and then we're going to have to bevel. We'll have to unwrap this, but that's simple. Select these edges and Control B. There's 2, 3 edges, and Control R there, and Control B to split it just with 2. Bring it close up, and now select these 2 inner edges and Control E, mark seam. And now we have a region that we can use. Now the only thing I have to re-unwrap is the body. That's the only change. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to unwrap again, and it means I have to do some straightening. Let's see if I can grab, no, you got to be out of that. See if I can grab all three and straighten them. Select them, and sometimes you can and sometimes you can't. I got them all. So take that, straighten that out, and just move it down here. And I'm going to make these things a little bit bigger. All right, I'm going to take the whole thing and I'm going to pack again. So the packing will be a little bit different. That's okay. So I'm going to take the whole thing and export the same FBX lamp video, select it in mesh. Come back to Substance Painter, edit project configuration, select lamp video is already selected. Okay. Let it load here. Let me go back to here. Doesn't look good because I need to bake the mesh maps again, but I've only changed the body, so I can uncheck these and only bake that. I even get a little bit of dirt and a little bit of the highlight in there. And I'm going to come to my pattern and on my black mask, and I'm going to select here and this UV. Select there, and I now have something in there. Now I don't actually want it white, so I'm going to come to my main layer, alt click on height. All I want is height. I'm going to bring that all the way up and we'll see what that looks like. Add a fill on the black mask. Come into the grayscale. I'm going to scroll down a little bit until I get to this pattern here, this fabric circle half overlap. That's what I'm going to try. Click that, and it's actually going on everything, and I don't want that, so I'm going to come back up to my folder level, add a black mask to that, and select there. And now I've only got the pattern in here. So I'm going to come back to here, and I'm going to put the tiling all the way up. I'm going to leave this on UV projection, and I'll probably put the tiling on 2, and let's try the rotation of 90, and we have this. One other thing I would like to do is right above this, I'm going to add a filter, and let's add a blur filter to this, and you get that effect. You can just bring this down to 0.2 or so, 0.25, let's try 0.25, and call it even so. And you get a little bit of a pattern, a little something to reflect light on. Okay, so I've got my materials here, and it's time to export and bring this back into Blender. To do this, I'm going to come to Export Textures, and I'm going to find a template that I have that includes opacity. And if you don't know how to do that, let me know and I can talk to you about that. I'm going to export these. So we get a good number of textures here, and I have the opacity in there as well. All right, let's go back to Blender now and come to the Shading tab and have a look at this. I'll start with the body. So click on that. It's already named, so select that. Shift Control T, and this is Texture Test, and this is what is it? Lamp body vid, from base color to roughness, and principal texture setup. So that goes on there. Everything's good. The normals are correct because we're using OpenGL. Take the reflector, lamp body, there it is, reflector, base color to roughness. That's in. The glass will take a bit of work. Let's load this up first. So it's lamp body vid glass, or lamp glass vid. Base color to roughness, we'll just do that. Okay, we get that shininess. Take this, come over to the materials and scroll down. The blend mode, switch that to alpha blend. I'm going to switch the shadow mode to alpha hashed, and backface culling. And you can also click on screen space. Okay, still not see-through. All right, but we're getting there. So I'm going to maximize this by Control Spacebar, and I'm going to pull this material output out a little bit. I'm not going to be using cycles or this displacement, so I'm going to delete that and the image map that comes with it. But I will take this and duplicate it and connect this to it, because we'll be using that for the opacity, and we can already load that up. So let's do that. Let's find this lamp, glass, vid, opacity. There it is. All right, but I won't connect it yet. So I'm going to take that and just pull it out. Shift A, shader, mix shader, and drop that in. Shift A, shader, transparent. Drop that there. Put that there. And connect this to there. Give it a second to load, and you can see through it. Okay. All right, let's come back to layout and look here. This is what it's looking like. I'll put it there. That sort of accentuates the dustiness of it all. And then generally what I like to do is come in here, and I'm going to select there. Let's bring my 3D cursor there, because I'm going to create in Blender another cylinder. And it doesn't have to be high poly, really. 18 or 16 is fine. I'm just going to scale it down till it sort of fits. Let's get rid of the bottom face though. And I'm going to make it a bit taller. I'm going to bevel this. I'll add a few bevels, nothing important. Take that and sort of poke it in there, and I'll shade smooth. And I mean, you can do a nice droopy wick if you want to do that or whatever, but I'm going to just do this. Create a new material. This is lamp emission vid, I can't remember what, or whatever, and switch this over to emission. Change the color to an orangey kind of color, and I'm going to bring this up quite high. I'm going to try 200. And okay, I'm going to go with that for the moment. Okay, I'm also going to come over here, and in my version of Blender I can adjust my ambient occlusion here. I'm going to put that at 1 and this at 2. But regardless of if you have it or not, I'm going to add bloom, and that's where we'll see a lot of that effect. Sorry if that's hard on your eyes. I could tone that down for now, so it's a little bit easier. With my cursor there, I'm going to also bring in a point light. What happened there? And just increase the size. That's going to be in there. I'm going to put that around 100 and like an orangey yellow, and switch this to there, and we'll go Alt H, bring that back. Okay, and that's pretty much what we have. And I'm going to increase now this. I'm going to go back to 200. And I'm going to actually increase this to, I might try 300, and just get it so that we get that reflection a little bit on the back of that thing. Depends on your lighting in your scene as well. Here's how it's roughly going to look. All right, I've got the same lanterns in there. I've got the window done. I'm going to be showing you more of this soon. I've done the same kind of thing where I modeled the ceiling lamp. All right. And I've got some bloom on there, and that's how I made those lamps. So I'm going to go on in the next video and do a little bit more modeling and texturing for you, and hopefully we'll get close to wrapping the scene up. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.